episode 92 of Strange Brow Radio. I'm again your host, Tobe Johnson, and today's guests are event organizer Sandy Nelson and her partner in crime, Kevin Carney, and we talk about the upcoming October Sasquatch Rendezvous. We also listen to some really interesting audio that Kevin caught up in the Blue Mountains in eastern Washington, so I'll tell you more about them in a second, but what would life be without Feral by Aaron, E-R-Y-N, Alchemy Sound Tools, only found one place so far anyway, at Etsy. Type it in, one word, E-R-Y-N, Feral by Aaron. You think you've hit a drum, shook a rattle? Not these babies. Check them out at Feral by Aaron. All right, I'll tell you more about our guests coming up. Be right back. All right, as I said, our guest today is Sandy Nelson and Kevin Carney, and they are the, again, event organizers of the October Sasquatch Rendezvous. So if you missed Chapter 1, which was AC after COVID, it was a success. It was a lot of fun, too. I was a part of it, and a whole lot of other people were. And so this one is an extended version of that one. The cultural connections element of it really gets into how this affects our culture as far as understanding what's going on with the not only the supernatural nature of the subject matter, but everything else connected to it. And there's a lot of voices coming out, and I'm going to let Sandy explain who those voices are. But it should be really high def, good quality sound, interactive PowerPoints, full audio, visual, and you can interact back and forth in a way that you just cannot at a regular conference. So digital conference coming up this October, but I'm going to let Sandy Nelson explain that. And then, hang around for some compelling Sasquatch audio from her main squeeze, Kevin Carney. It's unlike you've maybe never heard before. All right, without further ado, here we go. All right, on the line with me now are Sandy Nelson and Kevin Carney, the host, founders, and all-around ruffians of Sasquatch Rendezvous.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Yeah, it's good to have you guys both here. Now, as far as the event coming up, everybody should know that we're getting almost a month outside of it, and it's going to be a virtual Sasquatch event tying together the cultural connections and the supernatural aspect and the physical nature of Sasquatch. And Sandy, you've got quite a list of panelists and speakers along the way. Talk to everybody about what's coming up.
Yeah, we're actually going to talk about cultural connections across North America. So we've got quite a broad panelist from Canada throughout the United States, from coast to coast. And we're going to just be talking about the social aspects, arts, and the culture of Sasquatch in these different geographical areas. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be insightful. We're not only focusing on the Pacific Northwest, but Canada, New York, the Midwest, Arizona from a native perspective. So I think it's going to be very informational and exciting.
And interactive. I'm just being associated with the first one there. When you go to a typical conference, the audience is kind of left out of the conversation here, and with this being a virtual meeting here, everybody's on the equal playing field. It's not like you have a presenter on a stage. Yes, they have the limelight, but you're not opposed to people interacting with the guest, by virtually speaking to me in the control panel and fielding questions.
And you know what, the speakers are engaging amongst themselves as well. And so it's just a nice conversation. It's a great format. Each presentation will be 45 minutes long, and then there'll be about 10 to 15 minutes of questions and answers. But again, it is interactive. And in April, when we had our first web conference, it was very well received. In spite of COVID, we had great attendance, and we're looking forward to another successful conference.
Okay, perfect. Now, below me here on the screen, because we're doing a video chat, we have Kevin Carney. And Kevin, you were a part of last year's conference here. Are you taking a back seat to this one?
I am.
Okay.
We don't need to double up. I mean, I've said my piece, and I mean, there's so many other people that have great stories and information and perspectives that I don't want limelight. I want to share. I want to help people learn, understand, and continue on their journey. And if that means I'm in a support role this time, then that's what I'm going to do, because that's the whole idea. It's not a money-making thing. That it's educational. It's helping people with their journeys is what it is.
Yeah. Well, this has been a really strange journey for everybody here, but we did really well with the first Sasquatch Rendezvous, so I don't think that's going to slow down the conversation or the attendance at all, but it's kind of a needed distraction away from what is ordinary stressful news cycle about this, that, or the other. And, I look forward to being able to do that with everybody on the panel. And, like I said, we got about 30 days coming up here. So we're busy at work practicing, make sure that it's flawless and lining up the speakers for everybody. As far as being able to present any new information, have you got any inside scoop that you can spill? Because I know that there's some really new stuff that I've heard that I don't know if it's going to make it your way. What's going on?
Well, I definitely have you with all your new stuff, and Daryl Adams out of Oregon. So you guys are going to be talking about some parallel evidence and just that parallel universe that goes on with the world of Sasquatch. I know Webb Nez is our Navajo investigator and researcher. So he's got a great perspective, a very spiritual perspective on Sasquatch as well. We know Mike Patterson out of Sasquatch, Ontario. He's going to be joining us. And he's always got new things going on up there. So I'm excited to hear his current research and investigation, where it's taken him. He's had quite the journey. Andrea Billups is really, she's from the Midwest as well, a lovely individual that has had many different experiences in different states in the Midwest. And so she's going to bring a really rich cultural tapestry to Sasquatch in that area. And so I'm really looking forward to having her present. It will be some physical and also metaphysical. That is something that is part of our platform and we don't shy away from. Because as you know, Toby, the longer you're in this, the chances are you're going to go to that metaphysical side. It's an element that goes with this phenomenon. We have Ryan Lessinger. He works for the state of Washington, so he's going to bring a unique perspective and history of our state Sasquatch. Marcia Moore and Barb Shoup are going to have a nice conversation about woodland Sasquatch. She is a wonderful digital creative artist. She does the modeling of the elongated skulls, but she's got a really rich history with Sasquatch, and she loves being in the forest and does a lot of journaling and writing out there. So she's really deeply connected with the forest. So that's going to be a really nice conversation between the two of them. We also have Dan Nedralo. He's also from the Midwest. He's got a lot of different Facebook pages, and he's done a lot of research and has got quite a team behind him. So we're really interested to see what he has to share as well. And then for so many years, I've listened to Scott Taylor, and he is just a standard in this conference arena. he has got so much information from doing BFRO investigations. And now he's moved to an area where he actually has daily interactions with Sasquatch, he and his wife, Susan. So that's going to be a really wonderful addition to the conference as well. We will also have Doug Meacham, who is a hypnotist out of Oregon. And he is going to talk to us about the parapsychology aspects of paranormal phenomenon. There's a lot of times when people have their first sighting and it emits a lot of fear in people, trying to understand what they just saw and how it changes their daily perspective and all of the things that they've been told their whole life. Your whole paradigm shifts. And I know that because I went through that trauma. And I actually went down and was hypnotized by Doug Meacham after my first Sasquatch sighting. And it drew out a lot of more detail of what was in my sighting. And even though it was emotional to do that, it was very helpful in understanding more about what I saw. So he's going to talk to us about how to cope with these unusual phenomenon and your sightings. So I think that's important. I think, there's a lot of fear out there, and I think it's time to address that. So I'm so happy he's joining us. And then we have Mr. Bob Gimlin is joining us in a wonderful conversation. So this is something that I'm really looking forward to. He has had more sightings than just Patty, and he is much broader and deeper into Sasquatch than just Patty. And he's a lovely individual, a wonderful cowboy, such a gentleman. It's such an honor to have him with us. So we are going to be featuring him in a great conversation style interview. And I'm hoping everybody will enjoy this format.
No doubt.
What about Chris Connor?
He has not committed yet, Kevin. Thank you.
Okay. So there may be some change up along the way or additions to this?
Yeah, there might be.
Okay. And what I really liked about what we did last time is the after show, because not only was there some craziness, some supernatural digital craziness that happened there, but it was just, it was really cool. It was. It put me back in my place to where it's just like, wow, it's just amazing to see the body of evidence put out there and everybody working so hard to put something together. But it was just nice to sit down with your peers and have a virtual conversation with them over the web. So I look forward to being able to do that again too. And as far as the Al Moon Lab's concerned, down the road we'll have a trailer, and we could maybe release it in kind for the Al Moon documentary, which will be cut hopefully by that time, and maybe we can present that during the conference there and sneak somebody in to talk a little bit more about it intimately than just me. But I look forward to it. I look forward to October 3rd and 4th Sasquatch Rendezvous. Tickets on sale now. Go to SasquatchRendezvous.com, and real easy to get a ticket, isn't it, Sandy? You just click, takes you there. You get an invite code for the 2-day event, and the same code is used for both days, and then you just log on in your pajamas. You can actually learn about Bigfoot in a thong if you want. I mean, you wouldn't mind if somebody showed up in a leopard print thong. You might encourage it.
Kevin likes that idea.
Right.
And actually, there will be an area where you can describe what you're wearing if you like.
Right. Yeah.
We know. Slippers are optional with that thong.
Yeah. And the nice thing about you, Sandy, is I mean, you want to have a professional event. You want to take care of the host and make sure that everybody has their time, their 45 minutes or onwards to shine, and that it's flawless on my end. But at the same time, you're so self-deprecating and fun that it's not intimidating for the average person to approach and say, okay, I'm new at this. Why do you think that they should, let's just say Joe Blow on the street hears about this. What's the appeal? Why should they come?
I would say they should come just to learn. We're all about educating and supporting each other. This is an unusual journey, and it's not one that I was looking for, but it was one that was introduced to me. And for whatever reason, I accepted the possibility, and I was open to the possibility. And boy, has that brought me along in this phenomenon and learning more about the forest people. So if you have any interest, or if you are a believer in the possibility, then I would say, yes, come join us. This is a friendly conversation. And I do expect everybody to be respectful. But if you want to learn more about Sasquatch, this is a great forum to do that, Toby. And like you said, it's very interactive. You can ask questions. We are not only investigators, enthusiasts, knowers, believers. We embrace each other and support each other as a network of people that are traveling this journey together. And so people can join us in that journey. Universal family, and we invite you to join in.
Oops, your audio cut out there. Let me figure out. Hold on a second. Go ahead and somehow you got muted, Sandy. So unmute yourself. There you go. Go ahead.
It was the universe telling me to be quiet.
No.
Well, good luck with that.
Right. I can still hear you through Kevin. Well, let's segue over to Kevin there. Kevin, I'm not going to let you get off scot-free.
Okay.
Obviously, you've made a journey from knowing that these exist to these different aspects, these puzzling attributes we talk about all the time on Strange Brow Radio. Talk about your journey from being a knower to experiencing these things, and if you can, sell your version of Sasquatch to somebody here who doubts it.
Ooh. I think you either know it or you don't. And that means you experience it. And once you experience it, then you're all in. I mean, you can't lie. You can't lie to others. You can't say, I didn't see this. You saw this. You experienced this. So what do you do? You can shut it down, lock it up in a closet and, deal with it in 20 years maybe. But at some point, you're going to deal with it. And my journey has just expanded and expanded. And as long as I'm open to it, Tom Powell said a very, very profound thing that I really hooked on. It's not that seeing is believing, that's believing is seeing. Once you know these things exist, then you see them everywhere. The footprints, the structures, the howls. The howls. I mean, the stuff that you have just ignored and put off or just never reconciled for years. All of a sudden they have meaning. The prints, all of a sudden they have meanings. The that spidey sense feeling, all of a sudden they have meaning, and it works. I mean, it's happening. You just have to accept the environment you're in. It may not be an environment you understand, but you still accept it. And so that's the journey that I'm on. I mean, just this summer, I've had a couple of really weird things that I can't understand, but I'm not going to ignore, and I'm not going to say it didn't happen. The light in the Blue Mountains, for example. I saw 3:00 in the morning. It was total quiet. What looked like the size of a basketball court lit up in the middle of the woods. There weren't campers for 7 miles, if not more. How do you explain that? I'm no longer ignoring the stuff. I'm no longer saying whatever. I'm digging in, and I got to figure this out. And so, as far as what you had asked, how people want to work on their journey, just believe your eyes, because they're seeing this stuff. Even though your mind can't reconcile it, doesn't mean it didn't happen, because it did. So that's my journey. That's what I'm going on. And there's been a lot of people before me that have helped, a lot of people in our group that have helped me being able to accept. A big part of this is acceptance. And I'm still learning this, and I'm still going through it every day. And I want to help others too, because my big reveal, my accept all this, there's other people that've been on that path behind me. I want to help them as well. So that's what my involvement in is. This kind of, I would rather be in the woods, to be honest with you. but winter's coming, you can't always be in the woods. And so if I can help others and learn from others, it goes both ways. I'm absolutely all on board with that.
I think you should do some bragging here too. And what I'd like to do is, just so people can get an idea of the caliber of evidence that's coming forward, because we could wax poetically about our own experiences and say it happened and, this, that, and the other. But to actually hear, see, and didactically, dissect the subject bit by bit, Kevin was able to do that. Now, I wasn't with him specifically, but Sandy was there. And so what I'd like to do, with your permission here, Kevin, is play some of the sounds that you captured in the in the Umatilla area of the Blue Mountains. So let me go ahead and share the screen here, make sure I do it properly. And
I think it's important to preface this by saying those lights that I saw. I wasn't even going to talk about these vocals, but those lights that I saw were like 2 days prior. No, they were three nights out of 4 that these lights happened, and that was the same time frame as these vocals. So does that mean one is related to another? I don't know, but man, you can't ignore this stuff. So go ahead and play it. That'd be great.
Okay, so in the beginning here, you're going to hear what sounds like human voices and a drum drop. Well, that's basically you guys wrapping your mind around the fact that you're getting amazing vocals. And then after that drum drops, that's when the fun really begins. So as far as I know, everyone's accounted for it. There's no hanky-panky going on. You're out in the middle of the Blue Mountains, a vast area, and I'll just go ahead and play it. Okay, I'm going to stop it there because there's a lot just within that body there. One of the main things I want to broach here, we'll just do a mini conference, and I hope you don't mind, is regarding that bassy male voice that sounds like a man on a loudspeaker. You guys plainly hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, you're on mute, Sandy. Unmute yourself. Kevin, you hear that?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely heard that. Yes. and there's nobody out there. I mean, we know that area. There's the campgrounds were shut down during this time, and they weren't even people that were going rogue and camping out there. There was nobody within 7 miles, and that's only because we stopped searching for other campsites.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's not clear, but it sounds like a language that's hard to decipher. I wouldn't even know if that would call that English, but you can't ignore the elephant or Sasquatch in the room, which are these beautiful primal screams. Describe what was happening there.
Well, there was 2 of them, at least 2. There might have been 3rd, but 2 for sure. One sounded male. It was very bassy, very dominant. And the other one sounded like it was replying. It sounded female, but who knows? It could have been adolescents, parent child. I don't know. But we were in the middle of a campfire. We were drumming. We were singing. We were having a good time. And then one by one, we started hearing these vocals in the distance. And one by one, the singing stopped and the drumming stopped. We all stepped away from the campfire and just in a single file line. Everybody just kind of magically walked over to the edge of the camp area, fired to our backs, and for 20 minutes just listened to this audio that was back and forth. It almost at a point sounded like it was singing. It didn't sound like a harsh harsh yes and no questions and answers. It sounded, all of a sudden there was kind of a melody to the back and forth. So I don't know if it was a mimic of, I estimate 1.5 miles, maybe a little bit less away from us, but we're on a high ridge, the vocals are on a higher ridge, and so it was just straight line of sight vocals. So it was a fair distance, but it was perfectly clear, and the audio picked it up too.
It was one of our campers, Tracy, who is very familiar with the Blue Mountains. He goes there often, and he was the one that told us this is like the Umatilla Screamer. And there is such a thing. If you go on YouTube and type in Umatilla Screamer, you will hear very similar vocals to what we heard. We definitely heard the 2 going back and forth. But where Kevin had the parabolic way up on the side of a mountain behind us and over this valley, when you're listening to the audio, there is a definite 3rd individual with a really deep, gruff, guttural type voice, and he's like breaking sticks or trees or something, and he's grunting, and he's much closer to the mic than those screamers were. So there's definitely 3 individuals, because truly we're on the side of a mountain and there was no one behind us.
The story goes on too, because there was actual physical evidence that someone came in on the parabolic. I was there with you, Kevin, when we found that. And then things in the sky. There's stories for miles here that we can't get into, but it's not as though we just heard somebody or you recorded somebody sound blasting without there being after evidence. And there was before and after evidence that supernatural crazy shit was happening, and that's just the way it goes. The Blue Mountains, I mean, we're kind of giving away a really cool hot spot, but it's a big area. And if you have the chance before lockdown 2020 begins, get your ass up to the Blue Mountains and stay the night up there, preferably on a weekday, and have your own experience. Don't rely on us. This is the kind of stuff we're going to be talking about. Kevin, did you want to make one last point?
Oh, no, I was just yelling at the dogs. But no, there was one other thing. When I said there was a 3rd person, I think there was a 3rd screamer.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So there could have been a 3rd screamer, maybe not. But there definitely was something close to the microphone.
Yeah.
We had the screamers. They were 1.5 miles away, but there was something very definite within 40 yards of the microphone.
Well, and it sounded like it was in a chamber. I mean, it was not a natural voice. Because it was so close. Yeah.
And that voice, I still know what that voice is, but there is that guttural, the grunt. is more than a grunt. It sounds, could have been some kind of a language. Was it a bear with sloppy tops? I don't know.
I like that. Bear with,
I doubt it.
We got to play it again. Here, let's listen to it one more time. It's too good. Okay. Well, it's amazing audio, and it was I would love to have been there the day of, but you know how these things work. The moral of the story, though, is that if you ever go on a Sasquatch retreat and you're invited to a hot spot, go before everybody arrives. That is,
you know what? That's good advice. The first night is there's usually something going on the first night. Mm-hmm. There is.
Yeah, and it limits all the other contamination issues that come up, and, you know, people get exhausted, and I'd say get there early, wouldn't you, if you can?
I say stay as long as you can, too.
Yeah, stay as long as you can.
And stay as long as you can, because the longer you're there, the more likelihood that things will amp up, especially in these known areas. So it's fun times.
Okay, fun times, October 3rd and 4th. Don't be a stranger to Sasquatch Rendezvous. Get your ticket now before they go, and gone. Hey, thanks again, Sandy. Thanks again, Kevin. And hey, I quite literally will see you in the trees coming up here in a couple short weeks.
Yes.
Sounds great, Toby. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the forest.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Now you know what to do. Now you got to go do it. Just go to SasquatchRendezvous.com. Little bits of magic happen when you do these things live that you can't get in pre-recorded or edited up material. I'm telling you, there was some strange happenings at the last one, and I don't know if they're going to make it into Sandy's final edit, but it was a pretty interesting digital moment that we could not account for. So, again, SasquatchRendezvous.com. Also, I want to mention another website, unrelated. Go check out heartunafraid.com. Now, the YouTube channel just went live, and from there we're going to be looking into introducing Ira Wolfnosen to the world. And you can expect Zoom webinars from her. And they will all be directed and produced by yours truly. And the first webinar that we have coming up, I'm going to let her talk about. So our next guest coming up here, if not the next guest, definitely before episode 100, I'm going to let Ira better explain exactly what she does, but it's really great to have her on board of Strange Brow Radio and doing something outside the box for sure with heartunafraid.com. So get ready for Ira. All right, you will find us here once a week, as always, at your favorite podcatcher of choice, or, you just go to strangebrowradio.com. As I said, I'm going to be pushing more and more to that website and off social media. And so every website is available on the homepage. Just click play. Also, go to strangebrowradio@gmail.com and shoot me an email. Let me know how I'm doing, how the show's doing, what you think of the new format coming up on or near Halloween of seasons. And if you want to be a guest, anonymous as you like, shoot me an email of your encounter. I should mention, see, this is the way it goes. I get talking and I forget stuff. We have a sketch artist on board willing to recreate your well, I shouldn't say recreate your nightmare, but recreate your incident, your supernatural incident. So if you have good detail, like so many of you do, but you can't draw it out, I have someone who will, who wants to. So the more detail, the better. And if you don't want to tell me about your encounter, just describe what you saw, especially if it's some kind of cryptid or entity or some, something that has texture and is alive, or at least their version of alive. So send that to me. Just write in the subject matter there, description for recreation or drawing from these two sketch artists, actually. So that's coming up. Again, strangebrowradio@gmail.com, strangebrowradio.com if you want to get a hold of any of the episodes or look at our merchandise, all that stuff on there. Okay, I will see you guys next week, and if not, then I will see you in the trees.